Was the next Paul Gascoigne tonight? Bukayo Saka's game improved in the second half, and can Dominic Calvert-Lewin ever stop scoring? And Conor Cody was the defender we all hoped for. England 3, Wales 0, the first ever review of our brand new Three Lions Report series, bringing the latest match reviews and previews. We did do a preview for this, but we will do for the Nations League's games from the England national team. I know a lot of football YouTubers, whether it's Premier League, EFL, non-league, are going to be watching this game and doing watch-alongs. I just do the match reviews afterwards. I might do watch-alongs in the future of the channel, like a couple of years down the line or something. But if you want to see that in a couple of years, let me down in the comments down below. But this game, what a game. What a game. First half, definitely wasn't cruise control. I did feel like it was very touch and go at times. Wales had a good couple of attempts. Nick Pope, catch of the day, was catching everything. And, it was very, even though we had a 1-0 lead going into the break, it wasn't comfortable at all. There were a couple of good Wales chances. And the second half, we just passed go straight away. And we just took the control of the match in the second half. And subs came on, fresh legs came on towards the end of the game in the last half an hour, last 20 minutes. And, we just went from there, really. So, overall in this game, am I happy? Of course I'm happy. England won. I think the winner of Scotland's group faces us in the group for the Euros next year as well. So, it's going to be an interesting one to see how that all develops. But let's talk about performances. Jack Grealish, the next Paul Gascoigne. What a performance from him, first of all. There's 3 or 4 players that I want to pick out tonight. We're going to start off with Jack Grealish. He was providing balls, assists. He was getting in on the act. It was like a full performance. Jack Grealish, what a player. What a player. And, I always go back to that point about Aston Villa and Dean Smith. They really did so well to keep hold of him, because we have Premier League clubs like Manchester United with bad ownership, but you still had other clubs out there. I think Spurs were linked with him, and I think there must have been, a couple of clubs abroad, I think, that were linked with Jack Grealish in the summer. So Aston Villa did a really good job, because of course with Man United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's one of the top 3 targets was Jack Grealish. And obviously with the Glazers, you don't always get what you want. So they were kind of lucky with that one. But I'm sure there was another couple of clubs sniffing around like Tottenham. And I'm sure there was a club abroad somewhere. But Jack Grealish proving once again why he is so good in an Aston Villa shirt. And he's one of the players I would bring in for that squad in the Euros. I'd bring it in for the Nations League. I think that with players like your Sanchos and your Chilwells and your Foden and Greenwood, being omitted from the squad due to certain circumstances. Jack Grealish really stepped up when he got the opportunity. I'm just seeing the scores at the side of me. Bosnia and Northern Ireland won 1 at extra time. Slovenia and Republic of Ireland 0-0 going into extra time. I'm not too sure what the extra time scores were, but they'll probably come up at some point. I'm not too sure what the Scotland game was. I forgot when it came up. But yeah, Jack Grealish, what a performance. Another guy I want to pick out, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Oh my God, DCL is back. And there's been a lot of interesting reports all over the social media over the last week or so that maybe he's the guy to take all the weight off of Harry Kane, because, to be perfectly honest, Rashford's a winger, Sterling's a winger, Sancho's a winger. Apart from Harry Kane, there's obviously, in the past there's been a couple, but apart from Harry Kane, there's no recognised out-and-out forward that has the quality to step up to this first team at the minute. We now have a second forward, not behind, but on the same level, if not just as good as Harry Kane, if not better than Harry Kane. And that's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He just does not stop scoring. Stop scoring? And one of the big things I like about Calvert-Lewin, and that was the first goal of the game, that was the one goal in the first half from England. And that was that Calvert-Lewin saw the right cross at the right time, beautiful cross from Jack Grealish, and he directs the header. It's, as soon as the ball is in the air, whether it's Jack Grealish or Richarlison in an Everton shirt, or even James Rodriguez from an Everton shirt, crossing it in for Calvert-Lewin, you just know he's going to get his head on it. You know, he's like a British sniper who just picks out his target and just vaporises it into the back of the net. That is Calvert-Lewin with a football and a header chance. You know, he's hardly ever going to miss. And lo and behold, brilliant. I'll give Wales some credit for that first half. It was, yeah, they had a couple of chances, but they did put England under a lot of pressure. And one big thing I noticed, and we kind of got away with it after scoring the second goal, after scoring the third goal in the second half, is we were pretty much celebrating the goal, and then Wales tried to counter-attack from that celebration very, very quickly. And that's something they're going to try and pick out with other teams as well. And, you know, other teams don't have the quality that England have, so they're going to try and pick it out a lot more often. And in terms of defensively for Wales, one big thing I liked was the touch and go. How we call it, the touch tight defending. I like that from Wales. It was like a maximum 5 minute spell, not a lot, complete Welsh dominance in the defence. But I like the touch tight defensive, and I think that's a style that Ryan Giggs will want to develop on the defensive a lot more often. So going back to England players that I want to highlight, we highlighted Calvert-Lewin, we highlighted Jack Grealish, Nick Pope. That goalkeeper position with Jordan Pickford is seriously under threat right now, because you've got Dean Henderson, who's trying his best in a Manchester United shirt, but when he's got De Gea as competition, he's not going to get much England time because he's not proving himself on the club circuit. So you've got Jordan Pickford in there. Nick Pope is proving himself right there. That was a game to say, well, hang on a minute, Jordan Pickford can't just be the out-and-out number one goalkeeper. Nick Pope's giving Gareth Southgate selection headaches big time. And, you know, Nick Pope's definitely going to have to work a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see if he does start in the Belgium game, or whether it is Pickford. And it'll be interesting to see if Pickford does make mistakes. But with Nick Pope tonight, I feel like Nick Pope definitely showed himself a lot more. The catches he made were absolutely incredible. They were completely, utterly, you know, no worries whatsoever with those catches. It was like trying to catch a falling cliff, you know, that Wile E. Coyote's been, you know, brought off by Speedy Gonzales in the Looney Tunes cartoons. It's literally a cliff approaching a human being, and he's got the superhuman strength to say, no, I'm going to hold that cliff. I'm going to hold that cliff. It might have killed Wile E. Coyote and Speedy Gonzales on the way down, but it's not going to kill me. And I caught the cliff. And Nick Pope could catch anything. He could save the Titanic. You know, that's not being too over dramatic, but he probably could. He could probably save a falling bomb, you know, and not let it explode. That's what Nick Pope can do. And one big thing, though, that's a big negative, and it's been discussed with Nick Pope a lot, it's his footwork. He likes to use his hands more than his feet, in my opinion. He's a proper retro goalkeeper. Jordan Pickford is more of a feet rather than hand, but uses both. Nick Pope uses both, but Jordan Pickford's more feet, so he's more of a modern goalkeeper. And Nick Pope's more the hands, which is the retro goalkeeper. It's the stuff that people would consider to be old-fashioned nowadays. And it depends what team you're playing to see whether you need a retro keeper or the modern goalkeeper. And it's going to be interesting to see which one's better, but at the minute, Nick Pope for me is winning the race. Another player I wanted to pick out tonight, Connor Cody. That guy could lead the Man City defence to quadruples, because, and you know, people can sit there and say, well, Connor Cody's not this massive, massive name in the world. And you don't have to be a massive name to be a good footballer. Look at the inconsistencies of players like Paul Pogba. You know, look at Lionel Messi's situation. Look at Luis Suarez sometimes. You know, not every player is world-class because of their name. Connor Cody, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated Premier League centre-backs. He's a leader. He's a captain. And there's no wonder why in the second half he got the captain's armband, because Connor Cody is the defender that barks orders. When I was watching the game on ITV tonight, and all I could hear was Connor Cody barking orders like a pit bull after he sees another dog walking past. He's just on it. And with Connor Cody, for me, I definitely think that he's going to be a potential leader in that defence. I think he could definitely be on the bench against Belgium in a couple of days at the weekend. Now, whether that means he is in the Euro squad, I think he'll need time to progress. He won't start against Belgium. I think he potentially could start. He could prove himself against Denmark in the Nations League. So that's the next two games. This was just a friendly. The next one is the UEFA Nations League games against Belgium and Denmark. And then we've got the next international break in November. So between now and the end of this season's international breaks, going into next season's Euros in June, of course postponed from this year, I definitely think Conor Coady could be an underrated defender to go into that Euro squad. And I think if he keeps proving himself, barking orders, leading that back line, and that was a big thing for me. Yes, Wales had a couple of chances that could have pushed out the back line, but there was one chance in particular where they played the offside trap in the second half, and literally it was after the second goal, I believe it was, and I was worried because at first I was thinking, oh, it's luck. They just weren't lucky when they were celebrating, and Wales could have broken away, but the referee gave it offside. They technically, even if they didn't mean to, played the offside trap. And the big thing about the back three is it's a mixture. And that's the one thing that Manchester United lacks, that other teams lack in their defence. They've got, if you're playing a back three, you need your mouthpiece, your pacey stopper, and your powerhouse stopper. The powerhouse stopper's Michael Keane, the pacey stopper's Joe Gomez, and the mouthpiece of the back line was Conor Coady. Absolutely. Nothing but barking orders. He's like that sergeant in that army commercial with Marmalade back in the 80s. You know, the one we watched, those Thames adverts where it's like, stand by your beds, do this, do that, whose mate, Marmite, my mate, Marmite. It's just literally barking orders left, right and centre, and all I could hear was Conor Coady's mouth. And that's the best thing about him, because he barks orders and he gets that defence. And one particular thing I noticed was after the second goal, and that was Conor Coady's goal. Immediately after the highlights finished, it cut to Conor Coady on the camera for a few seconds, and he was putting his hands down like, come on now. He's not even busy celebrating. He celebrated well, don't get me wrong, and he deserves to celebrate it because it was a good performance overall. But he just put it down like, just calm down now, calm down, discipline. And that's what I like in Conor Coady. He can celebrate a goal and then he can get back into that back line, back to work, head focused. Right, guys, discipline. Leading that back line. He's got the Premier League experience. He's Premier League proven. He's Championship proven. And I think that he could be a very underrated defender in that squad. So let's get into my player ratings then to end the video. Unfortunately, no player ratings for the subs, but they did put in some good shifts in that second half. However, I am going to do player ratings for the first team. So let's get into it straight away. So let's kick off with the rating for the goalkeeper, of course, the Burnley shot stopper, Nick Pope. I'm going to give him a strong, I was thinking a 7 first, but I'm going to go with an 8. I think an 8 because there was a good couple of times where Wales could have got in behind. Rabbi Mutundo, I think that's how it's pronounced. I think he's a Schalke teenage winger. He's got a very, very exciting future in my eyes. Very exciting future. But Nick Pope dealt with everything that came at him tonight. Even the few chances that Wales had, they came at him, whether it was off target, on target, blocked. And by the way, also in the other goal, Wayne Hennessy, good reactions for that second half save, good reflexes with the deflected shot from Danny Ings. And I'll get on to him in a minute. But Nick Pope in our goal, really, really good. Going to give him an 8. Joe Gomez, a 7. Looked a little bit ropey in the first half, but the second half, just like the rest of the team, just continued to improve. And I think he's got the pace to be the pacey centre-back that England need. He could partner up with Harry Maguire. He could partner up with Michael Keane in the first team in the future. I definitely think there's room for that. Speaking of Michael Keane, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Powerhouse, pacey stopper, good few stops, and overall a good performance from him. Conor Coady gets an 8. He was the best of the back three. Barking orders like a pit bull and a sergeant put together. He was like a sergeant pit bull. And just leading that back line. Absolutely leading that back line. And I think he was the oldest of the 3 centre-backs, if I'm not mistaken. It might be Michael Keane by only a year, so not too much. But I think it's Conor Coady that's the oldest by a year. So, good, experienced head. I'm not saying Michael Keane and Joe Gomez aren't experienced, but I think that Conor Cody was definitely the experienced head in years, and I think that he showed that with his order initiating and his directing of the play from the back. So 8 for Conor Cody. Kieran Trippier on the right wing, playing as like a wing back opposite to the winger, which is Saka. But I think they were both playing as wing backs in a back 5, or like a back 3 with the wing backs more forward. Kieran Trippier gets an 8. I think he was brilliant. Set up the Conor Cody goal absolutely beautifully. Good tapping from Conor Cody, but the cross to meet him. No wonder this guy's not in the Premier League anymore. He's competing in La Liga. He's an absolutely brilliant player. Kieran Trippier gets an 8 from me, and overall, apart from that assist for the second goal, overall just directed the play on the wings, did well, and that's what we asked for. Harry Winks. Now, people might disagree with this, but I'm going to give him a 6. Now, the reason why I give him a 6 is because, apart from a couple of occasions, I hardly understood Harry Winks' name being mentioned in the commentary and watching the game. He might have passed the ball around a good few times and helped control the midfield a little bit. I think the first half was kind of ropey again. The second half, before he came off in the 75th minute for James Ward-Prowse, I think that Harry Winks, apart from those couple of occasions, I think that he was quite non-existent in the style of play. Maybe that's what we like though. Maybe we like a good holding playmaker midfielder, a deep playmaker midfielder that's maybe non-existent in the commentary side of things, and non-existent in the whole match report, but maybe he's existent in the game. So that's why I sort of gave him a 6, because he was quite non-existent when being mentioned, but I think that he did string some good passes together, and that's not like a low 6 or anything like that. I think it's a high 6, moving towards a 7. But I think it's just that little bit extra he needs to get better in the first half. Calvin Phillips, I think today was his first start, of course, Leeds United player. I'm going to give him a 7. I think he was the better of the two midfielders that started, in my opinion, but only just. I think that, again, ropey first half a little bit. Second half, just improved. Absolutely improved. And, he deserves massive praise for the way he conducts himself in the second half as well. Bukayo Saka. This one, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this one is a tough one, because in the first half, he was kind of shot for confidence for most of the first half, and that's, by the by, he's a young kid, he's still got to learn a bit. But the second half, before he came off in the 75th minute for his Arsenal brother Ainsley Maitland-Niles, just grew in confidence as the game went on. I think the first sort of 20, 25, 30 minutes, maybe not as in it as much and not as conscious in the game as much. But the rest of the game before he came off in the 75th minute for Maitland-Niles just conducted the play on that left-hand side. Really, really good from him and definitely improved. Jack Grealish gets a 9. Absolutely 100% gets a 9. He's the best rating in the team for me. Just conducted the play. He was like a little pest behind the strikers, or like the side of the strikers. Just a little pest. You can't get rid of him. It's like a fly you can't get rid of. And, I think Jack Grealish deserves massive praise for tonight, and he should be one of the people at least on the bench, possibly starting against Belgium. Danny Ings gets an 8 for me. He just proved why he's on the goal-scoring form that he's been on since he's been at Southampton. Danny Ings, wonderful from him. Absolutely wonderful performance. Got forward so many times, and you could only want to praise him. You could do nothing but praise Danny Ings for that performance today. So, really good from Ings, and it can only get better from there. And finally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, DCL, I'm going to give him an 8 as well. Very good performance, gets the goal in the first half, and just conducts the rest of the play before he came off himself in the second half. So, very, very good from Calvert-Lewin right there. So there we go, that is my player ratings from the side. Now, speaking then about my final thoughts, just to sort of summarise this video. Good win. Should we take it as any form of confidence going into Belgium? Absolutely. I think that we've shown at points. I think, like I said, the first half we were kind of ropey and kind of end-to-end with Wales a bit. We got the goal and we sort of nabbed in front. I think the last sort of 20 minutes of that first half, at least, 20-25 minutes of the first half, the last 20-25 minutes of that, I think we were definitely better than the first half of the first half. And the second half, total capitulation from Wales. I think at least one of the goals had a factor of bad Wales defending, and like I said, the touch-tight defensive work that Wales did was the best kind of defensive work they did. I think one of the goals Will Vaulks was marking, and he made mistakes in that. So I think that Wells do need to improve on that. Like I said, we should take it as form of confidence going into that Belgium game and show that we need to keep playing that free-flow attacking football that's made us so deadly in the past. Because right now, we've got some great first-teamers in there that can play well for this country. But you look at the talent that's going to be back up to these lot. Grealish, Saka, Calvert-Lewin, Pope, Cody, Calvin Phillips, Joe Gomez, all these kind of players that are first-teamers and also rotational players. You've got to look at them and think, if those first-teamers do not perform against Belgium, they're out and the youth guys are in. So, there's real potential with this England side for the future, and I cannot wait for next season's Euros, and then of course it's 2022, the World Cup. So, I believe it's the November international break that it's the World Cup qualifiers. Obviously there's the Nation League stuff as well, but I think it is the World Cup qualifiers the next international break after this one. So, very interesting stuff there. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. 3-0 win against Wales. Let's hope for the best against Belgium on the Saturday. My name is the CHALL, your content for Doncaster Rovers Football Club. And for now, guys, have an awesome day. Come on, you Lions.